Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision and much more. Grab yourself a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip and let's dive into this. Let's talk about who do I think is going to win at the 98th Academy Awards. Let's talk about all the categories in alphabetical order, kicking things off with actor in a leading role. The frontrunner throughout the awards season has been Timothée Chalamet until the past few weeks, where Michael B. Jordan won at the Actor Awards and Robert Aramayo won at BAFTA, leaving Chalamet with just the Critics' Choice Prize and the Golden Globe. So my personal choice would be Timothée Chalamet. Based on the strength of his performance, I would give him the Oscar. I know his sort of public persona has not appealed to a lot of people, but just based on the sheer power of his performance in Marty Supreme, he would be deserved a winner, in all honesty. But based on the strength of the movie Sinners, especially when we'll look at it in that lens, where Marty Supreme has nowhere near the amount of strength and awards stamina as Sinners has had, especially in the past few weeks. And when you look at it through that lens, there's something in the air about Michael B. Jordan and his excellent performance in Sinners. I don't want to take anything away from his performance, even though I initially thought that he wasn't even going to be nominated. I was wrong. Sinners got 3 acting Oscar nominations. So ultimately, I'm going to go with Michael B. Jordan. Wagner Moura could could win in a total shocker if there is enough vote splitting, and if there is enough sort of chaos in the race, then I could see a shock, an all-timer shock, surprise win for Wagner Moura, but I'm not going to go as far as to predict it. And Ethan Hawke and Leonardo DiCaprio are just happy to be here. So my final prediction for the person who is going to win the Best Actor Oscar is Michael B. Jordan, Sinners. Let's move on to actor in a supporting role. There is quite a fair amount of chaos going on in this category as well, where each nominee has had a prize at a different televised awards show. For instance, Stellan Skarsgård has won the Golden Globe, whereas Sean Penn has won the SAG, or the Actor Award, and BAFTA, and Jacob Elordi won at Critics' Choice. I mean, now at this point there is no chance of Benicio del Toro winning Best Supporting Actor, even though it was at a certain point in the race looking that way with the critic groups and what have you. But right now I think that he's out of the race. He's just happy to be there, and it's a cool nomination as well. And then Delroy Lindo is the one that we're left with. I have seen people predicting him as a sort of Marcia Gay Harden situation, where she actually was not nominated anywhere else other than the Oscars, and she won, because there was also plenty of chaos in that category that year. So I've seen people predicting Delroy Lindo to pull off a Marcia Gay Harden, but I'm just not going to go there, because, spoiler alert, I'm predicting 2 people to win an Oscar for their performance in Sinners. So I can't see 3 acting Oscar wins for Sinners. Also, spoiler alert, I think that Sinners is going to have a fabulous night at the Oscars and will and win lots of stuff, but I don't know, Delroy Lindo would actually be my second choice, even though I sort of scoffed at the potential of him winning in my Oscar nominations video because I was just so mind blown when his name came up. And then Stellan Skarsgård, had he won the BAFTA award, I think that this would have been sewn up for him. He's so good in sentimental value. He would be my, well, I would give it, my vote would either be Sean Penn or Stellan Skarsgård. I think they give very different types of performances, both brilliant in their own right, and ultimately I think that Jacob Elordi is also happy to be here, as is Benicio del Toro. And now that Stellan Skarsgård only has a Golden Globe, and Delroy Lindo is too much of a stretch for me, I'm going with Sean Penn because he has won SAG and BAFTA. It's a showy performance. It's a villain type of performance, sort of a Heath Ledger or Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards, or Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. All brilliant performances, and they all won in their respective years. So I think that Sean Penn can pull off a third Oscar win for his bonkers, extraordinary performance in One Battle After Another. And even though he's probably not going to be there, and that's going to be absolutely hilarious, I'm going with him. So my final prediction for Best Supporting Actor is Sean Penn, One Battle After Another. Now, as for actress in a leading role, I think everybody besides Jessie Buckley is happy to be here. Honestly, quite honestly, I have not that much to say. There is no second place. I mean, had Kate Hudson won either BAFTA or SAG or both, then I could see an argument for an upset. But right now, there is no argument here. Jessie Buckley has this in the bag. So my final prediction for Best Actress is Jessie Buckley, Hamnet. Actress in a supporting role, this race has also been fairly chaotic. Well, very chaotic actually, because again, as with supporting actor, each person has in this category has won in different shows. So I think that Elle Fanning and Inga Ipsoter-Lilias have next to zero chance of winning. They're just happy to be here, and I'm also very happy of them being here. My personal pick would actually be Inga Ipsoter-Lilias. I think that she gives such a terrific performance in sentimental value, and she would be a deserved winner, but she had to win at least one major televised trophy, so either BAFTA or Golden Globes, which I both predicted and both predicted wrong. So that's not going to be the case, and there's also going to be lots of vote splitting between the two, and I'm just not going to predict her, even if it would make for a really cool surprise win for her. So it's either between Amy Madigan, Wunmi Mosaku, and Teyana Taylor, right? Yeah, it's between those three. And for me, Teyana Taylor, even though I can sort of see the argument of her being a standout in the first sort of act of One Battle After Another, and she is Oscar worthy in this segment of the film, but she's just not enough in the rest of the film, and she just doesn't make, well, she does make an impression for a nomination, but is this an Oscar-worthy performance? I don't think so. I think that Teyana Taylor had to win at least one other major televised trophy instead of Golden Globe, which she currently has in the bag. So I don't think that it's going to be her. So we're left with Amy Madigan, who has won Critics' Choice and the Actor Award, which is a fabulous combo, if you ask me. Lots of people have won with less than that. So, and she is sort of the veteran of this category, and she has been a staple of this category, and she is bonkers brilliant in Weapons. So I could see she's actually my second place when it comes to who would I predict. And the only reason of why, the one reason that sort of tipped the edge and had me going with Wunmi Mosaku at the end is the fact that I just can't predict 4 wins. I can't predict all acting wins to correlate perfectly, to be perfectly in sync with the actor awards. I just can't do that, right? And I think that Michael B. Jordan and Sean Penn and Jessie Buckley obviously are way more probable and sewn up. And Wunmi Mosaku has won BAFTA, and I mean, it's just so undeniable her momentum and being in this historic film, honestly, when it comes to the plethora and the number of nominations. Is it though an Oscar-worthy performance? When it comes to the winners, I'm always looking at who has won in where and everything, and which precursor has more weight. I think BAFTA and SAG have way more weight than Critics' Choice and Golden Globes, for instance. And I also look at who won at BAFTA and if that person has any... is a British person, basically. And Wunmi Mosaku, I believe, is a British person, and that would kind of make sense of why she would win. But I don't think that it's only because she's British, and this argument is shallow in this particular category, in this particular year, because I don't know, there's something in there about Sinners, about that film overperforming, and I think that, back to what I was saying, is this an Oscar-worthy performance? I'm looking at the precursor wins and trophies, yes, but I'm also looking at the performance itself. Not just the narrative, not just the precursors, the performance. I have not seen the substance yet. I know, I should probably see it. But did Demi Moore give an Oscar-worthy performance for that film? I don't think so. I haven't seen the film. I might be wrong. But it was her narrative and her wins at SAG and Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, and her being sort of made as the fan favorite to win. And ultimately it went to Maggie Madison, which I've seen Anora, and she does give an Oscar-worthy performance in that film. She's extraordinary in that film, that performance. So I'm looking at all of those things, but I'm also looking at the performance itself. And I don't think that Wunmi Mosaku, even though she's great in Sinners, I think she's my favorite performance in that film, probably. I don't think it's an Oscar-worthy performance. Amy Madigan, however, is an Oscar-worthy performance, absolutely. Are you kidding me? But there's something about the lone nominee of it all and the risk of it all and the 444 Actor Awards Oscar correlation of it all. So all of those are just making me go with the safer choice here and predict Wunmi Mosaku. So my final prediction for actress in a supporting role is Wunmi Mosaku, Sinners. Animated feature film. I've seen probably 2 out of these. I should probably check out Elio and Zootopia too, since they are both on Disney Plus right now. And then Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, I have not seen. It didn't come to my region, so I wasn't able to see it. Argo is a fairly enjoyable, lovely, appealing animated film, and with some really mature thematic sort of content in there. And I have seen K-pop Demon Hunters. I love that film, and I think that it's definitely winning. I can't see an upset here. Maybe Zootopia too, but it doesn't really have... I mean, it does have the box office momentum, but K-pop Demon Hunters was also a streaming hit, a major cultural phenomenon. And it's also winning in another category, which I'm going to talk about very soon. So my final prediction for Best Animated Feature Film is K-pop Demon Hunters. Animated short film, I've seen all of these except for The Three Sisters, which I didn't find available anywhere, so I just had to skip that one. But even though Butterfly, I think, is a wonderful, beautifully animated film and with a very powerful emotional undercurrent, sort of, I think that The Girl Who Cried Pearls is sort of an extraordinary short film. I was so just in awe of that film and the craft of it all, and it was just, I could have watched 7 hours more of it. So I think that, and also, I know it's a silly argument, but there's something about the titles in the short categories that are sort of biases for awards voters, and usually the shorts with the strangest, weirdest, most memorable title usually go on to win the thing. And Butterfly, well, it's a beautiful title and it's a beautiful film, but I think that, I believe also the creators of Butterfly won recently, I believe last year, I'm not really sure. But anyway, my personal pick would be The Girl Who Cried Pearls, and I'm also going to predict that, even though it's not sewn up or anything. I'm not that invested in those categories. I just want to get them right. Because, well, I just want to be right. Who doesn't? So my final prediction for Best Animated Short Film is The Girl Who Cried Pearls. Casting. Now, casting is an interesting category, is a new category. It's the first year that it's ever introduced in the ceremony. So I do like this, and I'm so glad that casting directors are getting their flowers finally. And One Battle After Another would make for a deserved winner. The casting in that is on point, and The Secret Agent would also be a cool win there. Hamnet and Marty Supreme are happy to be here. Marty Supreme would actually be my personal pick, because my vote would go to Marty Supreme, because there is actually some very creative casting there. But I think that Sinners is definitely, I mean, it has that in the bag. So my final prediction for Best Casting is Sinners. Cinematography is also a very good category. I think that all of the nominees here are deserving of being here, even though there have been other films that could have slipped in and didn't, would make for cool nominations. These are all very Best Picture translated, copy and pasted to cinematography, but they all look very good, and I think that Sinners could upset. It was the frontrunner for the entire season, and I was also predicting it for a very long time, until One Battle After Another just kept winning one precursor after another, and no pun intended. And yes, there's something about it. I mean, it is a gorgeously shot film, as is Sinners, and it has lots of going for it, the different formats and everything. And Train Dreams would also make for a really cool, or actually a great surprise win there. And it did win the Critics' Choice, so it's not completely out of touch, but I'm ultimately going to go with Michael Bauman's work in One Battle After Another. So my final prediction for Best Cinematography is One Battle After Another. costume design, lots of one really cool nomination there, Avatar Fire and Ash. I don't think that it has a chance of winning there, but it's a cool nomination. And I mean, I think that Frankenstein here has sort of an advantage because it's most of these are period films. Avatar is a period film. It's just in a period that's like in the future. It's not in the past. But yeah, Frankenstein has some really stunning costumes, and I think that it just makes sense for it to win best costume design. So my final prediction for best costume design is Frankenstein. All right, here comes one of the most major and one of the most important categories, directing. So I can see a universe where Ryan Coogler pulls off the impossible and wins Best Director in a total shocker. It would bring the house down. It would be such a monumental win and historic win, actually, because there has never been a black director winning in this category ever. So it would make for a really cool, honestly, kind of awesome win. But Paul Thomas Anderson is just so overdue, and he has won literally everything from DGA to BAFTA to Golden Globe to everything. He has won everything, and everyone wants to see that man get an Oscar. He's 14 nominations in, and he has never won. Come on, are you kidding me? Nobody in this has this level of momentum and narrative, and his work in One Battle After Another is pretty extraordinary as well. So it would be a deserved winner as well. So even though I could see a Ryan Coogler upset, I'm going to go with my PTA there. So my final prediction for best directing is Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. Documentary feature film. Unfortunately, I've not watched any of these. So, I mean, Mr. Nobody Against Putin has gained lots of momentum, especially with it winning at BAFTA, and it has a much more a broader international appeal. But man, The Perfect Neighbor has just shown so much strength and muscle, and it has really been a staple of this category and has won, and he's nominated everywhere, literally everywhere. And in Critics' Choice, it was nominated for Best Editing. When does a documentary, I mean, I know it's Critics' Choice, it doesn't mean that much, but still, isn't that something? Best Editing for a documentary feature film. I've never seen something like that. Maybe there has been. I'm just such a newbie at this, but there's something about it that's just so acclaimed and so. I mean, it has the Netflix of it all too, and I could definitely see Mr. Nobody Against Putin. I just can't see a documentary with the name Putin on the title win. It's just, it reads as too political, a bit too political. So The Perfect Neighbor, I think, has also a much more of an American appeal, and Oscars being a firmly American. I mean, there is the international voter body as well, but without digging too much into it and overthinking this, my final prediction for best documentary feature film is The Perfect Neighbor. Documentary short film, I've also seen 3 out of these, and my personal pick also correlates with who do I think is going to win, and it's All the Empty Rooms. Now, I think that Aren't Only with a Camera, The Life and Death of Brent Renaud is also a fairly... I really like that as well, and I could see it winning as well, sort of. But the Netflix of it all and it being so powerful, I think that All the Empty Rooms has just winning potential written all over it. So my final prediction for best documentary short film is All the Empty Rooms. Film editing. Now, that's a tricky category because a lot of the time, most years, the film that wins best editing also happens to win best picture, and for some reason it's just such a direct sort of link between those two categories. I have no idea why, honestly, but there you go. It just happens. So, since, spoiler alert, I'm not predicting One Battle After Another to win Best Picture, I don't know. I think that One Battle After Another is winning editing. Yeah, it's Oscar-worthy editing. Now, Sinners, Best Picture potential winner. Yeah, I think it's winning picture, but I just spoiled my prediction there. But is that editing Oscar-worthy, or even deserved to be nominated? I'm not sure. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, even though I like the film and I would gladly see it winning Best Picture. I just think that film editing is just, it's such an elemental component and ingredient in the realm of filmmaking that, can we just, I mean, is it that easy to just hand out these best editing Oscars to every film that's winning Best Picture? I mean, they should be more precious. The editing art, the artistry behind editing should be far more recognized thoughtfully, and it's just being one of the most lazily awarded categories. So, and that's my personal take there, but I ultimately think that One Battle After Another is winning Best Film Editing. The rest are happy to be here, so my final prediction for Best Film Editing is One Battle After Another. Okay, international feature film. That's also a tricky category because this year it's just between those the two films, Sentimental Value and The Secret Agent. It's almost neck and neck, and ultimately my pick would be Sentimental Value, even though I also really like It Was Just an Accident a lot, and Shirat is good, and the voice of Hin Rajab is it's not that bad. I have over-hated on that film. It's not a bad film. There is something that there are a few elements of it that are very interesting. The sort of combination of documentary and fiction. But this is not a review for The Voice of Hin Rajab. This is an Oscar predictions video, and I ultimately think that the strength and the awards, the Oscar love that it has shown, I think that Sentimental Value has the upper hand to The Secret Agent. 9 nominations and 4 acting nominations. I mean, Elle Fanning making it in, even though she wasn't even longlisted in the BAFTA, and the film having no actor award nominations and still getting in 4 acting nominations is just bonkers, wild. The awards body, the Oscars, Academy, the Academy loves Sentimental Value. That's what I'm trying to get across here. So ultimately, in a neck and neck race, I think that Sentimental Value is kind of winning the Best International Film Oscar. I just think. And now, if The Secret Agent wins here or in casting, totally fine with it. And I would actually keep an eye out for Wagner Moura had this happen. But I don't know. I think that the Sentimental Value is just such would be such a deserved winner here. So, and it won BAFTA as well, even though Secret Agent won Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. Love, great, all of that, but Sentimental Value did get BAFTA, and did it get a PGA nomination? I'm not sure. Anyway, my final prediction for Best International Feature Film is Sentimental Value. Live action short film, I'm just not going to go that deep in these categories. It's basically two people exchanging saliva, which is quite odd since it's one of the two that I have not seen, this and Butcher's Stain, which I have not found available, and I have just not found the right time to watch two people exchanging saliva. The title of it all, again, and the just the buzz that I've been hearing all throughout the seasons ever since the nominations just has me thinking that that's probably winning the Oscar. So my final predictions for Best Live Action Short Film is two people exchanging saliva. Makeup and hairstyling, I think, is one of the most sewn up categories here. Lots of really cool nominations. I recently watched The Ugly Stepsister, which was a nauseating but cracking bit of fun, wasn't it? I think that it was such an original film, and I really like the editing in that. I think that it's extraordinary. Was astonishing, the makeup in that film. So yes, even though the makeup team did outdo themselves there in The Ugly Stepsister, and I also really dug the makeup in The Smashing Machine, and I'm so glad that it's an Oscar-nominated film. Haven't seen Kokuho, Sinners, sort of a limp nomination here. It's good. The makeup effects and gore and everything is good. It's just a little bit dimly lit in places, and you can't really see it in its full glory. So it's not really a good showcase of makeup, but it's good makeup work, just not Oscar worthy. And Frankenstein, that my friends, is Oscar worthy makeup. I mean, even Frankenstein being a lone nominee, which is not, it's in Best Picture. Man, the editing in that is bonkers extraordinary. So my final predictions for Best Makeup and Hairstyling is Frankenstein. When it comes to Best Music Original Score, I think that One Battle After Another would make sense as the winner had it shown more momentum throughout the race. Ludwig Göransson has basically won everything, and I mean everything. It seems like they have no problem giving a third Oscar to this young, talented composer, and his work in Sinners is so well integrated in the film, and it actually plays a major role in the exploration of its thematic material, and it's just such an sort of inseparable component of the film. And One Battle After Another's score is also fairly excellent, and it's also a very memorable component and ingredient of the film. But Sinners is just winning here. I mean, if there are a few categories that Sinners is guaranteed to win, this is one of them. So my final prediction for Best Original Score is Sinners. Music Original Song, I'm already getting out of breath. Golden, it's golden, it's just golden. I love that song, it's a great song. And I Lied to You, which is also going to be performed, as I heard. It's also a very Oscar-worthy song. It's a really beautiful song that plays in a key scene in Sinners. If you know what I mean, those who have seen the film, it's in that scene. So this could actually make sense as a winner since the film is so strong. But Golden has just been such a relentless frontrunner, has won everything, is performed everywhere. I mean, it's in the freaking radio, and I listen to it. I have never hit on my Spotify list, I lied to you and heard it. Has never happened. I've watched Golden and bobbed in it so many times. I love it, and there's something so empowering about it. I just love that song, and I think that it's winning. So my final Oscar prediction for Best Original Song is Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, this is the big one. Who do I think is winning Best Picture at the 98th Academy Awards? I'm just not going to beat up around the bush on this one, guys. It's Sinners. I think it's Sinners. It's just, I have gone back and forth between Sinners and One Battle After Another, which are clearly the two favorites here. I mean, it's one of those two. It's between those two. Yes. And I know that on paper, One Battle After Another has won more precursors and more key precursors than Sinners. But there's just something in the air about Sinners and it winning Best Picture, and it would be such a cool moment, and everybody would be happy, and it would be such a cool celebration of Black culture and honestly the art of filmmaking and of big studio filmmaking that makes people leave their house and go to the theater. And it's such a multifaceted film. Does it work entirely 100%? Does it balance all of those moving parts perfectly? No. But is it highly entertaining and also has plenty of deeper human exploration? It does. So without beating around the bush, I think that One Battle After Another, even though it's winning director and editing and adapted screenplay and one acting Oscar at least, it just makes sense, and having won everything from PGA to BAFTA to everything, almost, well, everything that it needs to, it does seem like an illogical thing to predict Sinners to sort of prevail in this race, this really tight race. But I know it's a shallow argument, but still, I do get a Moonlight La La Land vibe. I do get a Parasite 1917 vibe. I do get an Everything Everywhere All at Once and whatever film was in the second place that year vibe. So I just have to go with my gut here, and my gut says Sinners. So my final prediction for Best Picture is Sinners. We've almost made it through, I promise. Production design, also, I think Frankenstein has this in the bag. There has been criticism about the showcase, the directing of the production design in that, and I'm not going to repeat those, and I would actually not echo them. I think that the production design in that is very impressive to look at. So yeah, I think that it just makes sense, and the rest of these are just happy to be here. There are a few cool nominations here that I would that perhaps would get my vote potentially if I really thought about it, but it's just something about the production design in Frankenstein that is so showy, and it's almost too showy, and it has been criticized for that, but the Academy Awards voters just not care about this. More is more for them, and this sentiment is once again going to cut through. So my final prediction for Best Production Design is Frankenstein. Best Sound, it's F1. It's F1. It has won everything that it needed to. I'm not sure about the Guild. I have no idea which film the Guild gave this award to, but even though Sirat and Sinners and One Battle are all pretty cool nominations, Frankenstein I could do without that nomination, but well, life isn't fair, so F1 has some really impressive sound work in that, and it's a Best Picture nominee. Yeah, it's just winning. So my final prediction for Best Sound is F1. When it comes to visual effects, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Done. There's nothing else to say here. My final prediction for Best Visual Effects is Avatar, Fire and Ash. And finally, we have the two writing categories. First, adapted screenplay. The winners in those two are so predictable. It's honestly a little bit boring. But One Battle After Another is taking this. It just is. So my final prediction for Best Adapted Screenplay is One Battle After Another. And original screenplay, it's Sinners. There is no doubt about that. I mean, there is zero doubt. So my final prediction for Best Original Screenplay is Sinners. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd for more film-related content, and the Awards Expert app for real-time Oscar predictions. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.